Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Colin, call sign MM0OPX. It's been a little while since I made a video. Been a little bit burned out of late, and we've also got a new family member. So this is Holly. So she'll now be called the Ham Radio Hound. So she's actually made the journey from North Macedonia. So she's made, right the way across Europe. So we've had her about a month. So she was rescued when she was just a puppy, so she's had probably a pretty horrible start in life. So my wife and I, we were looking for another dog, but instead of getting a pup locally, we thought we would adopt. So this is Holly, and she's a lovely little thing, as you can see. Okay, so what have I been working on? We're able to get a holiday here in the UK. I've been for a little while, to be fair. We've the borders and stuff have been open, and we've been able to travel into England and across Scotland and so on. So we've had a holiday booked from last year for down in Yorkshire, and where we're going to is right on the coast. So then obviously that got me thinking, since I had my 705, that should I take the radio with me? I've not told the XYL yet. I'm thinking about taking the radio, so I'll maybe just see if I can sneak the things in the car when I'm packing it up. And that led me to think, okay, so what am I going to take antenna-wise? Well, I'd love to take an adjusty wave with me, and that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to take what you normally see and what I normally use. I've been thinking about a mini version for a little while. Usually, partly because I rarely work 80 meters. 80 meters is great, but typically I'm not up late enough, or I've not even got my 12 meter Spiderbeam pole, so I'm not using 80 meters. So I thought what I would do is, with the the knowledge and the skills that I've acquired building an adjusting wave, I thought I'd have a go at building just another variant, and that's what I've done. It's not perfect. It needs a little tweaks, but for my personal use, and that's all it's going to be for, it'll be perfect, and I'm quite sure it will perform. So I think what we'll do is we're going to have a look at the this antenna. But before we do that, I should also mention that I've bought myself, I think Holly's wanting down here, so I'll put it back to our bed. There you go. So I've also bought myself one of these. Can I get this all on frame there? So this is the new Spiderbeam 10 meter travel pole, and it's a fantastic bit of kit. And what I'll do is I'll actually bring out the 12 meter Spiderbeam pole, and we can actually do a little comparison. So this is less than 70 centimeters collapsed. So on the 12 meter Spiderbeam pole, we have a rubber bung on both ends. But with this pole, we have a kind of glued on piece, but we have a screw on cap. And what I've noticed about the screw on cap, because with all my poles, what I do is I take off the bottom cap and I stuff a little bit of, you can see I've done it here, a little bit of fabric or a little bit of sponge. So if the pole happened to collapse, then it wouldn't shatter. It wouldn't crack at the bottom. But what Spiderbeam have done, I think it's quite ingenious, and I never noticed this actually. I only noticed this last week. This material here, it's actually foam, bit of hard foam, ether, a type of ether foam. That's what it kind of reminds me of. But I thought, how ingenious is that? So Spiderbeam has already thought of this, and they've incorporated this. But I've left a little bit fabric fabric in there. It's a good bit lighter than the 12 meter. But it's still a heavy pole. Probably not one you want to climb mountains with, but I would certainly take it and do so. I'd certainly do that, but it is heavy. The sections are not quite as thick. If I put the sections in here, and again I'll try and do a little comparison. The sections are just not quite as thick as the 12 meter, but the 12 meter is a real beast. But what I've done with this pole is, because it's 10 meters, I've actually taken away the top two sections, and what I can actually do is I can take my top clamp for adjusting wave and it fits straight on there. So how lucky was that? So I never knew that would happen. And if you look at the second section, so this second section from the bottom This happens to be the same diameter as the bottom section of the 12 meter Spiderbeam pole, and then that allows me to use on this Adjustawave standard, it's the same size of clamps, so it fits right on there. But then you need to think about how I'm going to guide this. Now, I've already had this guide out once. I'll do a follow-up video with this setup because I'd like to set it up and then do another video of me using it. But what I've done is, as I usually do, is I use a Jubilee clip, and this is nitrile rubber that's round about it. Can you see that? Yeah, this is 4mm nitrile rubber. So what I'm doing is I'm not actually clamping the pole, I'm just holding it in place, and then I've got these guide points. So 2 is always better than 1, you know. What's the saying? 2 is 1 and 1 is none, something like that. But this is when I bought this pole, I actually bought a roll of this. This is great stuff. This is Mastrant M. So this is the heavy duty, and this is 2mm or 3/32 of an inch, and it's 484 pound breaking strain. So what's that? 200 kilos. So this is real strong stuff. So this is what I'm going to use to guy, and it's very, very light. So that's a 100 meter spool. So that's what this that's what this string is. And I have had it guyed out. It did work. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a guy ring and put it on the top section here. So between the second and third. So here I'm going to put a guy ring. So I have some nylon 6 sheet. So I'm going to make that guy ring, and that'll clamp on there. And then quite often I should only need to, or usually I should only need to clamp this at the bottom. But I will make a guy point for further up. Okay, so let's go and have a look at this little antenna I've been making. So this is the antenna that we've been talking about. So this is a kind of smaller version of Adjustawave, just for my own personal use, because I just you know, I thought, why not? So if we look at the standard, and I can't go past this antenna. It's great. You know, and that's going to give you 80 meters up, and it's also got the fixed band add-on as well, so you could run, excuse me, you could run a 80 meters on here, say, and you could run 40 meters on here, a fixed band. So that's still, you know, that's still my go-to antenna. But for this 10 meter Spiderbeam pole, I thought I would make something a little bit smaller. Now, these reels, these are actually slightly smaller. They do 2 variants of these reels. So if you look at them side by side, you can see that it's slightly smaller, and that's what I've used. Now, on this antenna, there is just under 25 meters of wire on each reel, but on here we only have 12.5 meters. And what that does is this allows me to use 40 meters up. So I can't use 80 meters on this. I tell a lie. I've actually tested this, and I can scrape 60 meters. So it will work on 60 meters because I put a little bit extra on. But you can see there's still more space on the reels there. Could I get 80 meters on here? I don't think so. So it's got a slightly different configuration. So for the driven element, the wire comes up here, goes up to the spider, back down. On here, it's 90 degrees, but it works just fine. And with using the smaller reels, it's allowed me to use a smaller enclosure. These are really quite heavy duty. These are Kima Kerr or something like that. And I actually discovered these boxes when I got this. Now, I got this back in 2011. Now this is a 3 kilowatt 1-to-1 balun. Now this has been out in all weathers, and this actually sat just under a chimney, a coal fire, and this lasted for years. Ignore the little marks, this was me separating it because it had silicone and stuff in it, just to get the lid off it. But this lasted for years outside, so that tells me that these are a really good enclosures. So that's why I went with this. The SO239, instead of coming out the bottom, which I would have preferred, like on here, it actually comes out the side. Excuse me. So I need to be careful of when I run the coax up. I'll need to probably loop it around the pole and then come to here, so I'm not putting any side strain on this SO239. On the back, I've tried to get away with using one clamp. These are rubber clamps, hydraulic hose clamps. So these are actually one of the most expensive parts. They're not cheap, but they're really good. So I used two of them on this Adjust-A-Wave, on the Adjust-A-Wave standard, and I tried to get away with using one, and it does work. But what you get is you get a little bit of flex just because of the rubber. It doesn't affect operation. It's more annoying than anything else. So what I'll probably do is, I may or I may not, I may fit two of these onto here. We'll see. Other little mistake I made is we need to put the blocks on. So when we linear load and we come back down, so this arm fits into here. Okay. But what I noticed was I made this reel, it's quite a tight fit. Where the spindle is, it's close to the edge of the box. So I put it a little bit too far down. So if you look, see this butterfly nut is hitting off the reel. It's not really an issue, because once you have this tightened up, that's it. And as long as the butterfly nut is horizontal, it doesn't matter, and then you can use this. So it's not really a big issue, but I could move the reel up, the center bolt up ever so slightly. But I'm not going to rebuild this antenna. This will work perfect for me. So it's not a massive antenna. It's not something you'd maybe want to put in your, carry for days up mountains. But it's not particularly. It's not that heavy. And for throwing in the back of the car, it's going to be ideal. I'm going to put a little backpack, put that in it, take the Spiderbeam pole, and away we go. So unfortunately, I can't get it up really stable yet. As I say, I need to make guide plates. I'll make two, so I'll certainly make one to go around the top of the second section, so sitting on the third but resting on the second, and one probably up about the seventh or eighth section. So that's our system as a start. So this is really just a part one video. So what we'll do is briefly, I'll just actually connect the antenna to this, and I'll just show you it mounted to the pole. Here's just an idea, showing you what this is going to look like. So what I've done is I've mounted the antenna so to the second section of the 10-meter Spiderbeam, and you can see what I mean. It's really nothing. It's more annoying than anything. It wouldn't affect anything, so I'm not going to change it. But I may, if I make another one of these, then I may add two clamps. So that's it mounted to the pole. I just put on the this spreader arm just to show you. So that's locked in there. So this is going to have, obviously this is the adjustable radial. So I didn't want to take radials with me for obvious reasons, and using even one elevated radial will give you fantastic performance for DX. So even if you're just making a quarter wave vertical and you use an elevated radial, okay, it's got to be tuned length, but that's not really an issue. So I'm going to have to take two little poles with me to keep the far end of the radial elevated, but I'll show you that in the next video. This will actually need to lower a bit, because I'll need to have it clear here, because I'm going to have the guide plate mounted on here. So yeah, that's the antenna mounted on the pole. This is actually the 12-meter Spiderbeam pole. So just for comparison, there they are side by side. So you can see that it's almost half the length, the 12-meter Spiderbeam when it's closed. So it's almost in line with the second section here. Right folks, that's it for another video. I hope that was worth watching. So I'm going to make these couple of parts that I need to make, just get the guying sorted, and then what I'll do is I'll do a little part 2 video on this where we actually set the antenna up, we see it in operation, and perhaps we'll even get a little contact too. I'll set it up in the garden here most likely, and what I'll do is I'll bring out the 705. I am working on some other bits and pieces, so I'm actually working on a portable beam for 20 meters, so please keep an eye out for that. Parts are actually starting to arrive, so if I could give you, so here is a clue, maybe not giving much away, an aluminium plate. There's another part of it going to be getting used, and what I'll do is and here's the other parts that are going to be getting used. So I've got 4 identical poles, so keep an eye out for that. I'll probably do a couple of, I'll need to do a few videos on that. I'll probably do a build, I'll certainly do a couple of build videos, maybe a testing video, and then one when we get it out. So probably 3 or 4 videos coming up for that. So keep an eye out for that. Right, until the next video, it's bye for now.